Today we're going to answer a question that I get a lot in my YouTube comments, and that is, how do I get a lead role? How do I get a lead role? Stick around, we're going to answer that question right now. What's up, my fellow actors? After a long hiatus, welcome back to the Acting Career Center, here to help you learn the skills you need to break into the film and television industry. My name is Kurt Yu. Thank you so much for spending some time here with me today. If it's your first time here, make sure to subscribe to this channel to get more videos on acting, auditioning, and career advice. And if you haven't already downloaded my free 10-step audition preparation guide yet, you can get it from that link right up there. I call it my audition cheat sheet. And hey, look, if you ever want to get a lead role, you're going to have to audition for it, so you might as well learn how to audition well. This is my own 10-step audition preparation process that has helped me book over 50 movies and television shows. If you want to download that free guide, you can get it from that link right up there. Okay, today we're talking about how do you get a lead role? Now, before we get into it, let me know down in the comments what type of project you would love to be a lead in. Would you love to be a lead in an action movie, or a comedy, a rom-com maybe, or a horror film, sci-fi, fantasy? For me, it might be sci-fi, but let me know down in the comments what yours would be. Okay, let's talk about how do you get a lead role. Now, first we have to define what a lead role is, because look, there are different levels of lead roles depending on the level of the production. You could write your own screenplay today and cast yourself as a lead, and now you got a lead role. Simple as that, right? But I know a lot of you that are asking this question, you're talking about auditioning for a lead role in someone else's production, right? But even with that, there are levels to it. You could get a lead role in a small independent film, maybe a student film, a short film. You could get a lead role in a bigger indie project, a slightly bigger one, or you could get a lead role in a massive blockbuster movie. So there are different levels of lead roles depending on the level of the production. We have to think about acting sometimes as a job, because if we're approaching this as our career, then acting is a job. And we can compare it then to other jobs in other fields. Let's say I want to be hired as the president of a company. It's kind of like being the lead of a movie, right? If I want to be the president of a company, well, there are different levels of that as well. I mean, I could start my own company and make myself the president. Easy as that. Or if I want to be the president of someone else's company and get hired as such, well, you could be a little bookstore in a small town. You could be the president of that. It's a very small company, but you could be the president. Or you could be a slightly bigger company, maybe a chain of restaurants, maybe 10 restaurants in one state. You could be the president of that chain. Or you could be the president of a company like Apple or Amazon.com. You could see how like the little bookstore in the small town and Amazon.com are very different, even though you're both the president. And there's all different size companies in between. Same thing with films. You have little small budget, zero budget productions, and you have the multi-$100 million productions, right? And everything in between. Now, there are some people that ask about trying to get a lead role in one of those big budget productions, and yet they have no experience. And this is where I want to throw a hypothetical at you. And at first, this may not seem to make any sense, but I promise we're going to tie it all in at the end. Let's hypothetically say that you win the lottery. Okay, I think you're going to like this hypothetical. Let's say you won the lottery and you won $100 million. That's a lot of money. But with this particular lottery, you don't get the money right away. You're going to get it 2 to 3 years from now. Okay? But in those 2 to 3 years, you have to hire a financial planner to help you invest that money. And you give all of the $100 million to this financial planner and let them do whatever they want with it and invest it for you. And then after, let's say it's 2 years, after 2 years' time, you get the money back. And hopefully, if the financial planner did a good job, that those investments have gone up and you get more than 100 million back. Hopefully they don't screw it all up and squander all the money, and let's not talk about what happens then, right? So you got $100 million. You have to give it to a financial planner for 2 years, and then you get the money back. Now in this scenario, you get to choose between two different financial planners. Financial planner A has 10 years experience planning and investing money. And they've actually invested millions of dollars of other rich people's money and has a pretty good track record of doing so and has produced a good return for all of their other clients. Okay? Financial planner B is just getting started. They're very eager to start their career as a financial planner, but they've never done it before. Okay? But they're very eager to do so. At most, they have invested, let's say, $1,000 of their own money, but they've never invested anybody else's money before, let alone millions of dollars of it. So in this scenario, which planner would you trust your $100 million with for the next 2 years? I think all of us would agree that we would trust the first one. The person with 10 years of experience and a track record of investing well for their clients. Because the person with no experience is too big of a risk. That's a lot of money, $100 million, to give it to somebody with no investing experience, right? Now, why am I talking about this hypothetical? Well, we have to remember that Hollywood is a business. And filmmaking in Hollywood is a business. And every major production is $100 million investment for the producers and the production companies. And these producers, when they're trying to cast the lead in their movie, it's kind of like that investor. It's kind of like the financial planner, because you got to trust that the lead in the movie is going to be able to carry this movie, and hope that after 2 years, after the movie gets filmed and edited and comes out, that that movie is going to be a success and not a flop. And part of the reason why a movie would be successful or unsuccessful is the performance of the lead actor. And if they're not able to do their job, if they can't pull their weight, then that movie may not be successful. So those investors, the producers of the movie that are investing hundreds, sometimes over $100 million. The big Marvel movies are often $200-300 million. These people that are putting so much money into the movie, they're trying to minimize their risk. So when they have the choice between an actor who has a lot of experience and has many credits, or an actor with no experience, who do you think they're going to choose? They're most likely going to choose the actor who's done it before, because it's less of a risk. That's $100 million or $200 or $300 million. We want to take the actor that has done it before, because it's less of a risk than putting hundreds of million dollars into the hands of a brand new actor, because we don't know if that actor is going to succeed or if they're going to fail. So when a big production doesn't give an audition opportunity to a brand new actor for their lead role, it's not because they don't think they're talented. They could be plenty talented, but they just don't have the experience yet to be trusted with such an important role and all of that money that's tied to that important role, right? Think about the financial planner again. Let's say the second financial planner is your friend, and they tell you, hey, look, I promise I'm going to be really good at this. I got straight A's in my financial planning classes. I know how to do this. Trust me, I can do this. Well, yeah, I get that you got straight A's in your classes, but you still don't have any real world experience. That's why I gotta go with the person who's proven it before. Otherwise, it's just too big of a risk to give you $100 million for 2 years and hope that you do a good job with it, right? So same thing with the actor. It's not about, they could have given a fantastic audition, but doing a great audition is very different than actually performing on set, because you're talking about 12-hour days, you're talking about doing 3 months of acting, and can you handle the workload of a lead role if you've never done any other acting before, right? So how does that actor then get to the point where they are trustworthy? Well, they have to work their way up, just like a financial planner would have to work their way up. How does that financial planner, that second person, establish the credibility? How do they build that trust? How do they get to the point where someone with $100 million is going to trust them to invest all that money? Well, first they got to prove that they can invest $1,000 well. And after they do that, they got to prove that they can invest $10,000 well. And after that, maybe they can prove they can invest $100,000 well. And then someone with $1 million might look at them and say, all right, you've proven yourself at these lower levels. I think I'm going to give you a chance at investing more money. So with an actor, we have to first prove that we can do our job in the smaller roles. And once we've proven that we can handle the smaller roles, we'll get an opportunity to audition for medium-sized roles and then larger supporting roles. And hopefully, after we've proven ourselves and done more and more of these smaller roles and medium-sized roles, at some point somebody with an opportunity for a lead role in a bigger production will look at us and say, wow, this actor has proven themselves and done a great job in those smaller roles and medium-sized roles. I think I'm going to give them an opportunity for a lead role. You can see how that is much more likely of a scenario than someone with no experience trying to get that lead role. I also liken it to the restaurant industry. How likely would it be for someone if I walked into a restaurant and said, I want to be the manager of this restaurant, but I've never worked at a restaurant in my life? They probably wouldn't give me the job, right? But if I were someone who has worked in that restaurant in multiple roles, I've been the greeter, I've been the busboy, I've been a waiter, I've been a bartender, then if I go to the boss and say, hey, I want to be the manager here, it's more likely that they would offer me the manager job because I've proven that I've done all those other jobs. Hopefully I've done them well, and if I have, more likely to get that job, right? So all of this to say that in order to get those big roles, it doesn't make sense to start from nothing and try to jump to the top. We want to take those steps and try to get there. What we need to do is build experience. Now, I do have another video called 10 Ways to Get Acting Experience. If you want to check out that video, you can go to that link right up there. The point is, we have to work our way up, and it takes those small steps. Sometimes people will look down at a smaller role and say, oh, that's beneath me, I want those bigger roles. But if that person is a brand new actor and they haven't done anything before and they say, I don't want to do small roles, I only want to do lead roles, what that actor doesn't understand is that those small roles are going to be what leads them to get those bigger roles, because those are all stepping stones to get the next part and the next part and the bigger part and the bigger part. Let me give you an example in real life. My first lead role that I got in a feature film was the movie By Night's End. I talked about this on this channel before. And the way I got this movie was that I had agreed to work on this small unpaid commercial project. And because I agreed to work on this small unpaid commercial project, the director of that project was writing a feature film. And because I got to work with that director on that smaller project, he asked me to become the lead on his feature film. Now, if I looked at that small unpaid project and said, this project is beneath me, I don't want to do it, well, that would have been a missed opportunity, because I never would have met that director and I never would have gotten my first lead role in a feature film, right? So It's all about taking those small steps. I'm going to share an image with you on the screen right now. And this is something I've shared on my channel before. And this image really demonstrates what the importance of small steps are. Because a big lead role in, let's say, a Marvel project is going to be at the top of this ladder. And there's no way we're going to get to that top of this ladder if we don't take the small steps to get there. Now, anytime I talk about this, people always like to throw out examples of like, oh, what about this actor or what about this actress who got a lead role without any experience? Well, yeah, that has happened. In fact, it's one of the reasons why people are drawn to our industry, because there are those stories out there of actors who have been discovered and got a big role without any acting experience beforehand. But remember that out of all the millions of actors today and in the past, how come there are only a handful of stories like that? Because it doesn't happen very often. It's very cool when it does happen, and the media loves to sensationalize it when it does. But the truth is that that's kind of like winning the lottery. And we can't bank our careers on trying to win the lottery. The best way to do it is to slow, steady, work hard, and work our way up. If one of those amazing opportunities does come our way, absolutely take advantage of it. But we can't expect an opportunity like that to happen. We can't just sit back on the couch and say, I'm not going to audition for anything unless it's a huge role in a major movie. Well, most likely you're not even going to get those auditions because you don't have anything on your resume to warrant an audition like that. Until you've built up a resume and built up a demo reel and built credibility, you're not going to get that. So that's why I encourage everyone, check out that video of 10 ways to get acting experience, because that's how I've built my career. Every year, year after year, I've been doing smaller roles and then medium-sized roles and bigger roles, to the point where I'm starting to get bigger and bigger auditions after doing the work and putting in the time. All right, guys, I hope this video clears some things up. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and I hope to see you in a lead role on set one day.